No, not
for a
10
year.
games. No. He gave him a 10-game window.
I thought it was a year.
10-game window. If he behaves himself, he's back in 10 games.
All right, well, so let him out for good behavior. What's wrong with that?
Oh, come on. He's got 10 people. He's going to go can't walk again in a rehab center in Vegas.
I understand that.
Come on.
I can't wait till 4 p.m. today.
And it's at Yankee Stadium praising the Yankees. Hey, Lodge, calm down. Go run your league.
Hey, they're all they're doing.
Calm down.
Let me ask you a question. Are they playing by the rules? Are the Yankees playing by the rules?
Rules that are awful. We understand that.
Yeah, but it's not like the Yankees are dominating every year. They haven't won the series.
They're in the postseason every season.
What's wrong with that? It's good for baseball. That's good for baseball, baby, and you know it.
We're taking
terrible.
Listen,
disgrace.
I didn't realize I was going to have the Yankee pom-pom next to me.
You could have a long day today.
Well, since when are you a Yankee pom? When is the Singapore Open by the way to get him out of here?
New York Yankees.
He's in back down his play today against somebody. Roger Clemens
Yankees.
Where's the Dallas?
Oh, Louie, you missed me, didn't you, buddy? Yeah, this day is bringing back some great memories.
Oh, we come back. Patrick McEnroe, nice to have you with us on this Monday morning.
Thank you all. Well, they came and got me out of Texas, and I can tell you it's a privilege to be back. I'll be talking to you all soon.
You're listening to Christopher Mad Dog Russo and Patrick McEnroe. It haunts you by night, stalks you by day. The burden of high business is fast and easy. In fact, you can do it in just 10 minutes. And there's an easy way to find out more. Just request a free guide today and learn about the wonderful benefits of incorporation from the company corporation. We don't offer legal or financial advice, but we have been helping people incorporate for over 100 years. Call 1-800-400-6213. Protect your family and personal assets by forming a corporation or a limited liability company. Take your first step by requesting a free guide. Call 1-800-400-6213. 1-800-400-6213. That's 1-800-400-6213.
Burgess with the Toyota Fan Highway Patrol, brought to you by McDonald's. Looking for a cold treat? You can now get an iced coffee at McDonald's in 3 delicious flavors, regular, hazelnut, or vanilla. I'm loving it. Normal volume delays on Long Island and Connecticut. Just seeing some slowdowns on 95 in between exits 24 and 21 in Fairfield. In New Jersey and Rahway, Route 1 and 9 southbound after Pleasant Street, road construction has only one lane getting by. In Manhattan, they fixed that water main break on East 35th between 1st and the FDR Drive. Gowanus BQE northbound, slow in between 38th Street and Hamilton Avenue. On the LIE in Queens, westbound between the Van Wyck and Woodhaven Boulevard, a lot of volume. Inbound George Washington Bridge, we have delays of 5 to 10 minutes from 8095 Express, minor from all other approaches. 10 at the Lincoln, fine at the Holland. The WFAN 3-day forecast, sunshine upper 60s today, sunshine mid-70s tomorrow, and sunshine maybe 80 on Wednesday. 45 with fair skies in Central Park. I'm Tracy Burgess with the Toyota Fan Highway Patrol.
Okay, Patrick McEnroe and yours truly, Christopher Russo, on this Monday morning in New York. A lot to talk about here today. We got a lot of hockey. We do some hockey with the Rangers.
Heck of a game with the Rangers.
Oh, great game. We got the Derby. We have
snoozer.
I agree. We got the fight. We got a lot cooking. We got a lot of sports. It wasn't great. No,
decent. Pretty good fight.
It was okay.
Pretty good.
What was it?
Did it live up to the hype?
No. But it was
made a lot of money, though. It sure did.
I mean, it wasn't terrible. And then you got McGrady crying. That's the first time I had seen that. McGrady crying, walking off the
Our old buddy
podium.
Jeff Van Gundy might be crying soon, too.
Yeah, I mean, he still can't get along with these owners. I don't understand it. But we got a lot going on, and we got to kick us off this morning, the big guy, who is a Yankee hater to his bones.
You're not in a good mood today, Mr. Carlin.
I'm good.
You feel a little foul today.
And he was killing Susan walking in here. My day was ruined. I had to hear that on the radio.
This is where I turned it off. I turned it off right here.
I turned it off right
This
here.
is where I went to the telecast on television.
I love Susan, you know that, but I'm sitting on the BQE in traffic on a Sunday afternoon, not exactly where you want to be, and I turned onto the game for the second, and the first thing I heard was Roger Clemens is a New York Yankee.
That's tough.
And I almost just drove right into the truck next to me.
He's got the update, Mr. Carlin. Nice to have you with us with Patrick McEnroe. Don't go away.
All right, guys. Sports is brought to you by the Owens Corning Basement Finishing System. Nobody knows basements better. So drama at the stadium, not even on the field, as Roger Clemens is back with the Yankees, signed during yesterday's game with the Mariners, and just like that, the dynamics of the American League East have changed. Clemens gets roughly $18 million for the remainder of the season, can come and go as he pleases on his off days. Here's Clemens on why he's back.
Of all the dramatic things I've ever seen, Roger Clemens standing right in George Steinbrenner's box announcing he is back. Roger Clemens is a New York Yankee.
Oh, God. No, here is Clemens. Here's Clemens right after that.
Come back to do what they only know how to do here with the Yankees, and that's win a championship. And anything else is a failure, and I know that.
And the $18 million didn't hurt either along those lines for coming back with the Yankees. So on the field, the Yankees shut out the Mariners 5-0. Darryl Rasner and 4 relievers shut down Seattle. Bobby Abreu drove in a pair. Red Sox did win yesterday despite the devastating news that Clemens was coming back to New York. 4-3. Joe Mauer, though, put on the disabled list as the Twins lose to the Sox. Rangers 3-2 winners over the Blue Jays. Indians 9 and the Orioles 6. A's 5-3 over the Devil Rays. Tigers crushed the Royals 13-4. And the White Sox in 10 beat the Angels 4-3. Diamondbacks beat the Mets in Arizona 3-1 to avoid the sweep. Other winners over in the National League, the Phillies over the Giants 8-5. Braves beat the Dodgers 6-4. Padres 3 and the Marlins 1-10. Cubs edged out the Nationals 4-3. Brewers 6 and the Pirates 4. Cardinals 3-1 winners over the Astros and the Reds 9 and the Rockies 3. In the NBA playoffs yesterday, Game 1 out west, San Antonio beat Phoenix 111-106. Tim Duncan 33 points, 16 rebounds, and the Cavaliers in Game 1 beat the Nets in the East 81-77. So they lead that series 1-0. And the Sabres finished off the Rangers at the Garden 5-4. So Buffalo advances to the Eastern Conference Finals to take on Ottawa. And that's sports. I'm Chris Carlin.
You're listening to Christopher Mad Dog Russo and Patrick McEnroe on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. Tonight at 6 on News Channel 4 HD. What's in a name? Everything.
The information is out there.
127, and the Mets about 103.
Well, only 103 for the
That's
Mets.
it. That's all. 105 maybe, and the Yankees are at 220 now.
Right. So
that doesn't. Let me ask you a question. The Yankees are at 220, and the Mets are at 105. You beat the Mets in the World Series. You're not going to sit there and tell me that disparity is not going to bother you?
Absolutely not. It's not going to bother me one bit.
You're ethically challenged.
Absolutely not. Why would that bother me? That's like saying if you're a big company like GE and you're up against another company and you're trying to get a big deal to make more airplanes, and you can offer them more because you got more at your disposal.
Do you have in your news report, Chuck, that Kim Kreiser's just retired?
Come on, Charles. Sport.
This is the great American pastime. This is being sullied by checkbook champions.
Checkbook. You've been thinking about that all weekend, haven't you?
No, I haven't.
That's a Cardinal fan over there talking.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I hear this, Susan, one more time? Can I gag one more time on Susan?
Stop it. Don't do this,
I have to.
Okay.
Roger Clemens is in George's box, and Roger Clemens is coming back. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Fine tingling stuff, Chris.
Of all the dramatic things I've ever seen, Roger Clemens standing right in George Steinbrenner's box, announcing he is back. Roger Clemens is a New York Yankee.
Out of the clouds. I want him to come down of the clouds on a Louis, make a copy of that for me. I'm going to take that home with me. Mad myself. Sleep tonight. Put that on a loop.
Oh, my gosh. I love Susan, but you can't go like that.
Of all the dramatic things.
Yes. It's not Sterling who gets that group in trouble. I mean, that's absurd. And I know ice cream. I'll be the first to admit, turn me off too. But that's a joke.
But who could have imagined Roger Clemens walking into this game? You know, he came in under heavy security,
this idea that
coming into the boss's box with Brian Cashman. And who came up with the idea? Who was the genius that said, Roger, you tell him. You take the mic, baby. You tell these Yankee fans.
Speak to us from the owner's box.
Who, as a Yankee fan, did not think that sometime in the next 4 weeks that Roger Clemens was not going to be a Yankee? Where is this dramatic license the Yankees took? This is not a surprise. We all knew he was coming. The Yankees are a desperate franchise. And, what happens to the guy who signed to Gallo for $46 million?
We all know how...
And Pavano for $40 million. What happened to these guys? For make these signings and it doesn't work out.
But you all know how, a great James Bond movie's going to end. You know he's going to get the lady. You know how the movie's going to end. But you know what? You want to see it. And you know what? Yankee fans were waiting. And they were waiting. And they got what they were waiting for.
Oh, good.
Roger.
All those guys,
Back in pinstripes.
but all the corporate guys sitting on front row, the ladies with their cell phone. Look, Mom, I'm on TV. the guy out in right field, the 18-year-old kid who thinks he's a Yankee guy from the DiMaggio era, booing the right fielder left and right.
June 1st.
Ah, come on.
June 1st.
Come on.
In the Bronx.
The Yankee fan with the badge of courage.
Roger.
Calm down.
Roger's back.
I can't go this crazy because my Yankee hatred will spin here the next 4 hours, and I'm trying to get cash.
Next 9
I
hours.
was trying to get Cashwood out here this morning.
Oh, good.
So we can have some. Listen, I got to be careful.
Okay, you don't want to go overboard.
Yeah, I got to be careful.
You would never do that.
Never.
No.
I can't step over that line. I have a tendency to do. All right, Chuck. Louis, I got a tendency to step over that line?
No, once in a while. No, never.
We're taking time out. Patrick McEnroe, nice to have you with us here on this Monday morning.
You're listening to Christopher Mad Dog Russo and Patrick McEnroe on Sports Radio 66 WFAN.
Tonight, the CBS Monday you've been waiting for. A How I Met Your Mother wedding.
Barney Stinson is about to aid and abet a marriage.
And on the season finale of The New Adventures of Old Christine, look who's pregnant.
I'm miserable and flatulent and sober.
Again on a new 2.5 Men. There's only one man sexier than Chuck.
I love the image of Italians being mobsters. How cool are mobsters in the movies? How friggin' cool is it? It's a great thing to have. It's part of the original culture that was brought over.
Well, it's funny.
And it's part of it.
It's funny because ethnic groups don't mind when it's a good stereotype.
But a lot of people don't see that as a good stereotype. I see it as some kind of a... you watch movies like Goodfellas and...
But that's what I mean, where
Casino.
it is kind of a good stereotype.
Yeah.
When you see these cool gangster movies with the mafia, you're like, that's kind of a cool stereotype.
A lot of the hip-hop
We're
guys...
badasses in the movie.
A lot of the hip-hop guys have taken, embraced that whole mafia attitude and stuff. And it's like it's kind of a cool thing, this underground kind of bad, cool thing.
Right.
I don't care if you want to depict Italians like that in humor or in drama or anything else. It's fine. Why the hell can we all just do that and not have these little groups telling us what to do?
I don't know. Know what we should do today? We should have people call up and get really pissed off about the good stereotypes in their ethnic group. For example, the black dudes have no problem with being known for having the big...
Being well endowed.
Having the big ones.
Right. That's been for years.
I want Al Sharpton to start a march. I am outraged.
Outraged. At this show depicting us as well endowed.
Then the Asians can protest across the street, and you should see what we have to deal with.
Exactly. That's, another stereotype.
Yeah, but you never hear that. You never hear a march because, it's a good stereotype. They allow that to just continue, no problem. Oh, let everyone think we all are well endowed.
Yeah. I don't know how many times I've said on this show and on our shows before that when you go into Chinatown, Asian people have a great work ethic and a great family community.
Yeah.
They look after each other. They work very hard for what they have. And that's another stereotype because I'm sure there are Asian bums somewhere. But for the most part, as what I see, and this is a stereotype also, that they're very community and family-oriented and work very hard, keep very long hours to build up what they have. Whether it's a store or whatever they're running, they spend a lot of hours there. The whole family pitches in, and that's a great thing. And those leaders that speak to their community bring that up and say that that's a great thing, that our Asian community is fantastic in their work ethic, and they build things up, and it's a great community to live in. So that's fine. But, there's got to be a homeless Asian guy somewhere.
Right.
You wouldn't say, a lot of Asians are homeless.
You know what? Speaking of that, I don't even know if I was going to say allowed. We're allowed to do whatever the hell we want. There's consequences.
We're allowed to do whatever we want. It's just a matter of how we'll be thrown out the door once we do it.
So then we have to kind of figure this out. But I swear to you, this is real. I got actual complaint emails about the JV and Elvis situation that are just beyond amazing. Beyond amazing. Written in completely broken English.
It's authentic frontier gibberish. I think the children seeing this spoken Blazing Saddles.
Complete broken English. Now, if I read this, will I get, fired? I don't even know.
All I know is this is the type of feedback, emails that are coming in as complaints to JV and Elvis for the prank call thing that they played that got them thrown off the air because it was to an Asian restaurant, and they made some Asian stereotype speech pattern little thing that they did that has been a joke in the schoolyards for years and years and years. But that's what they did. That's what got them in trouble. And some sexual remarks that were made. But again, in the scheme of things,
If you can't switch the R and the L, which is what they do in a parody of an Asian voice, we all know it. If you can't do
Been
that,
done in movies, been done on TV.
Right,
but you do it on radio, all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose and you should lose your job.
it's just silly.
well, then I'll tell you one thing. They should run to lynch Jackie Chan because he's one of the biggest offenders of ridiculing Asian people ever as far as the way they speak.
And that's all he does is talking broken English.
Talking this broken English, and then you make the people in the movies make fun of it. What he's saying, it's just.
Look, I think it's safe because this is an actual email that someone wrote about JV and Elvis. I got it. I could prove it's an actual email. This is not us writing a bit because we don't write bits. We don't do anything for this show.
Yeah.
Just turn the mics on and go. Let's be honest. So don't think all of a sudden we decide to write a bit here.
And Fan, could you please spell break the right way? If the camera picks that up, we're in trouble.
Exactly. It's nothing racist. He spelled it B-R-A-K-E.
A-K-E. Oh, do you stink? Oh, you went to go get him on a spelling error, and you couldn't speak.
Well, here you go.
The Irish stereotype.
Now remember, JV and Elvis on a indefinite suspension.
Right.
Probably will get fired. We're just trying to be funny and entertain their audience.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what we try to do here. There was no hate behind their bit. They were just trying to have fun. Obviously, it's someone else's expense, but who has decided that's wrong on a radio show? By the way,
Again, we're held accountable. We're held to these higher standards.
Who has decided that is wrong?
We're held to these standards in radio that other people in TV and other mediums that come out and say it's a comedy show aren't held to. For some reason, we are. Everyone on the radio is a newscaster.
Yeah, someone has decided that radio should not be mean. It should be all nice. It should be all 2 for Tuesdays.
Well, we're characters.
And your phrase of the day that pays and all that crap.
Yeah.
So this is an actual email. I think we're safe just reading it. This is someone that's very, very, very pissed off at JV and Elvis for the prank call they did with the computer voice to the Chinese restaurant.
Here's the type of letters.
I swear to you, I'm reading this word for word.
Yeah.
JV and Elvis, why has not Cho killed your 2 sons of the bitches?
Uh-huh.
White trashes. F each others. Greet to your mothers. I swear to you that is a complaint email that was sent to JV and Elvis about their situation.
I don't know what it means.
I'm just reading them. We don't even have to make jokes or anything. I'm just reading what was sent to me. And these are actual emails. Hi, JV. I just get your email from one of your coworker. I'm so sorry. Get this email so later. I'm going to deliver a box your favor Chinese human S to you tomorrow. I make sure the S is fresh.
And the S is the S word, of course. We all know what that means.
These are
Although in this day and age, it could mean Swahili.
Sounds like the restaurant I ordered from.
These are actual emails coming in because they JV and Elvis mocked.
Right, so you're going to get those emails that just tell you to go drop dead and go F yourself and things like that. But these are how they're coming in?
I swear to you.
I guarantee you they're doing the same thing like groups like the Catholic League do.
Right.
They have an email blast to people or whatever. They go, just write them and tell them you're offended. This is not
Exactly.
the show.
No, that is not a person that listens to JV and Elvis.
Right.
I'm sorry, it is not.
White trash, inbred male, whores make a living. Don't you? How much? Your mom too. That one's tough to read without really...
Yeah, they were kind of insinuating that JV and Elvis should perform some type of sexual favor on an Asian gentleman.
And that wasn't a complimentary email.
No, it wasn't.
The gist of it was negative.
The gist of it. I just felt the negativity off of that one. I didn't even have to understand it. But these are the emails coming in?
Yeah.
Protesting that they used some type of stereotypical Asian talk.
Yeah.
Some kind of speech pattern.
Yeah.
I want to
Okay,
see
that's
Asians
interesting.
protest the next Rush Hour. Because
Yes.
in the promos for Rush Hour, not only was Jackie Chan saying things, it was Chris Tucker not believing it. What? Like you said what? That was part of the
Chris
joke.
Tucker not understanding what he's saying.
Yeah.
Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth?
Here's another one. Effing CBS, effing Doghouse. Sick men. In Chinese, what is egg roll in my pant? They are my stool. I like to give you my stool. My PUPU, which is a Chinese dish. But if I say it, they'll probably dump out.
Yeah.
They taste really good. You should eat them. You should eat. They are really fresh, really faggy. You want to talk Chinese restaurant? You deserve what you ask. You should eat lice, bug. I like to see your mom naked too. The egg roll is right in your mom's. Ha 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 ha. Right to them as I did. Ho ho ho. And then it ends with right to them as I did. So obviously this is like a campaign.
Right. It's like one of those chain letter things where they forward the email to someone else.
All right.
They get that, and then
They left that part
keep
in.
it going. Yeah, but they
Yeah.
left it in.
Well, it goes on and on. It goes on and on. But there you go.
Yeah, that's a little taste of what
Those were.
we're getting as far as complaints go.
And to be completely fair, that is just some of the emails.
Yep.
Coming in about the JV and Elvis situation, but it's pretty interesting how it's all the ones we just read are all written in broken English.
Yeah.
And that's all JV and Elvis were trying to make fun of.
Yeah.
A dumb, silly stereotype.
And when you do something like that, when you do a single type of stereotype like that, it doesn't... Why then is it assumed that you are condemning an entire people because you're using a stereotype that some people do have in whatever community you're goofing on? Whether it's a speech pattern, maybe it's a certain lifestyle from a certain ethnic group. It can't be touched on. That can't be used and used in humor. It's ridiculous. So we sit here and wonder what the hell we can and can't say.
Right. There you go.
My God, what a world. What a world.
Well, we're off and running. It's the Opie and Anthony Show. The O&A virus spreading across America. The phones are lit. We'll go to you guys next. Stay there.
Hear what everyone else is talking about. O&A Uncut and Live, continuing the show on XM Satellite Radio, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern. Visit xmradio.com.
So many years at what, 3:30,
That's rough. That's rough. I'm not a morning person, but actually with the baby, it's been a lot easier. You go to bed a lot earlier, and you get up a lot early. A lot of times you get up at 2, 3 in the morning.
Let's see, a couple of other things, Geraldo, quickly. Al Sharpton, to whom you referred, is being criticized for comments that he made about Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney, though he's arguing about context and so on and so forth. But at any rate, in a recent debate, Mr. Sharpton is accused of saying of the Republican candidate, as, quote, "As for the one Mormon running for office, those who really believe in God will defeat him anyway, so don't worry about that. That's a temporary thing," he added, or something.
Yeah, but there's no way to spin that to not say it says what he says it says, that they're not real Christians, the Mormons. And, I don't know how you make that something. Now, I also believe that Al typically, when cornered, you attack. I mean, he's got great public debating skills, and he has a point about the Mormon faith, I guess, if this is true, that they only allowed black to be ordained as ministers from 1978. 1978 is kind of late in the game, in the civil rights game.
But nevertheless, it was an evolutionary point in the church.
I agree. But, it shows that Romney does have some baggage because of his faith, as sad as that sounds. There are some who will point to the faith and then say that it applies to the man. But that doesn't forgive Sharpton for saying what he said. Anyone can make a slip of the tongue, but not apologizing or really saying, I'm sorry, but this is what I meant. Just like Imus. Imus said that thing, and that was a terrible thing that he said. And it was so outrageous that he directed it against these women at the Rutgers. But then they forgave him. They forgave him because he apologized. And he really, I think he over-apologized in many ways, and I think he made a mistake on Al's show in many ways. But when he apologized and they forgave him, including the coach, then who are we not to accept that apology? They accept the apology. We have to then accept the apology. What are we? Are we all perfect? I mean, my God, I drew a line in the sand in Iraq my first time there. They let me back in 6 days later.
But you're right. When the principles of the offense say okay,
I think think it's really a tragedy. A tragedy, you know.
Well, Mitt Romney says that Al Sharpton's comment not appropriate.
His comment was a bigoted comment. It shows that bigotry still exists in some corners, and I thought it was the most unfortunate comment to make.
The spin was, though, that Reverend Sharpton denied that he was actually questioning Romney's belief in God at that point, and suggested then that in what some people are saying, blame the victim, that Romney is simply, and his camp is trying to stir up a controversy. And finally, President Bush went to the little town of Greensburg, Kansas. Got a first-hand look at the devastation there left by the F5 monster tornado of last Friday.
My mission is to, today, though, is to lift people's spirits as best as I possibly can. Is to hopefully touch somebody's soul by representing our country. And to let people know that while there was a dark day in the past, there's brighter days ahead.
The president also met with local and state authorities to speak about the recovery effort after 95% of the little community of Greensburg was destroyed in the tornado of last Friday. National Weather Service says the flooding in Missouri is going to get worse before it gets better. No good news there at all. First named storm of the year remains more than 100 miles off the coast of Georgia and Florida, the subtropical storm, and more headway is being made in the battle against the big wildfire in Griffith Park out in Los Angeles. There's not much progress being reported in the wildfires burning in Georgia and the state of Florida this morning. And so, Geraldo, those are some of our national and international headlines, sir.
Those fires are incredible, Charles.
Aren't they astonishing?
I just want to say something about the president. Just hearing his soundbite there from Greensburg, Kansas. We were on the air when that thing hit, and got some pictures up pretty quickly from the local affiliate there. I don't think I've ever seen any devastation so utterly complete as that. And when you think of 205-mile-an-hour winds, I've covered plenty of hurricanes. They're nothing compared to the savage, that knife that cut through that community.
Can't even imagine.
But what I wanted to talk about was the president. Just hearing him, he seems so compassionate to me. I mean, I know how unpopular he is. He has 28% approval rating, which ties him with Jimmy Carter for the lowest popularity in a presidential poll ever, and it could drop further. I mean, who knows? But I don't know. I always thought that when he finally mustered up the resolve to do something like going to the scene of one of these natural disasters, that he sincerely feels an empathy for the people who have been victimized by Mother Nature. I think he made a terrible mistake in Hurricane Katrina. I think that politics and race played a part in delaying his move into that community, which I covered, and it was unbelievable. Everybody had been, just uprooted, and the situation was just anarchy there for many, many days, and it was the federal government really dropped the ball. But I believe that he learned from that. I think that was a miscalculation. It was an aberrant kind of incident in his life. I think that he's really got a good heart. And I feel badly for the country that he is so unpopular, because unpopular kind of equates into ineffective. And he's the only president we have for the next couple of years. And you have all of these aspirants, and they're all running around doing their thing. But, I have this feeling, and, it's not based on anything. I mean, I interviewed his dad. I never even met this president. I have this feeling that if he were sitting here without the trappings of office, that we would, if we had a sincerity meter, we would think that this guy is not a bad guy. And I really believe that when he goes to these scenes as healer-in-chief, that people really get a very good vibe from him and really are encouraged by him.
Oh, I think so. I think you saw it in the response of some of the people he was talking to. One fellow who said, Mr. President, thank you for coming. I mean, paraphrasing, obviously, but we love you, we're praying for you, and we're praying for our country. He's certainly not a bad guy.
He's really not, but he's, I have the sense that in the beginning of his administration, maybe even before he started, he surrounded himself with all these neoconservatives, Wolfowitz and all these guys.
Pearl, Karl Rove,
Dick Cheney, the vice president. And they sold him this bill of goods about, an activist, almost imperialistic policy that we can make history by being aggressive. And it sounded so good, it sounded so fresh and revolutionary. And then after the early successes in Afghanistan, he just kind of filled his head, and he said he could be Caesar and not Bush. And the result is that we are in this quagmire with people who have very little regard for us, hate the West, hate everything about the things that we stand for. And now I worry that Iraq will be like Korea. I think that we're going to be in Iraq for half a century or more. I don't think there's any way that any responsible person can just pull all America's forces out of that place.
And just say,
okay, now it's up to you guys. We screwed it up plenty. Now your pot's boiling over. Now the left side wants to kill the right side, and the middle is the victim for both sides. And and it's next door to Israel. The Suez Canal is sitting on top of all that oil.
Oh my God,
where are we going to go from here?
Thank you, Geraldo, for now depressing me.
Hey, it's only 6:24. Try to cheer you up.
Do we have to take a break here, Louis, or something? Or?
Yes, we got a break now.
Okay, all right. Well,
don't we have a sports cast?
Yes,
coming up sometime.
Yeah, coming up right away. But first of all, let's get some of these some of this stuff out of the way at 24 minutes after the hour with Geraldo Rivera.
This is a rate alert for May 2007. While payments on adjustable rate mortgages are jumping higher at a record pace, there is good news. Fixed rate mortgages remain near record lows. Mortgage leader Quicken Loans reports fixed rate loans at around 5 3/4%. Smart homeowners nationwide are ending payment hikes by calling Quicken Loans at 800-971-4533 and refinancing into a low fixed rate around 5 3/4%. Don't miss your chance to lock in this low rate. It's fixed, so your payment will never go up. Call 800-971-4533 now. If you're in an adjustable rate mortgage, refinance now to a low fixed rate around 5 3/4%. Call Quicken Loans at 800-971-4533. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. APR 6.09%. Call 800-971-4533. That's 800-971-4533.
You are listening to Geraldo Rivera.
StubHub! Listen up, sports fans. Over the past few years, you've heard that StubHub is the best place to buy and sell tickets. So why should you use StubHub? Here's one reason. You're a sports fan. You have season tickets. You have extra season tickets. So you go to StubHub.com, sell your extras, and get cash. Here's another reason. You're a sports fan, and you want good seats for the game. You go to StubHub, find the tickets you want, and get them delivered to your doorstep.
StubHub ticket update.
Looking for great seats? Buy tickets from other fans. Have extra tickets? Sell them to other fans. Pick up Yankee tickets for an upcoming game on StubHub right now. Fans can get MLB tickets to every game on StubHub, even if they're sold out. Whether it's bleacher seats or behind home plate, StubHub has the tickets you want. Sold out? So what? StubHub's got them. To order your sports, concert, and theater tickets today, visit StubHub.com or call 1-866-StubHub. StubHub, where fans buy and sell tickets.
StubHub! We all have someplace we need to go, and Goodyear Tires can help you get there. Right now, during the Goodyear Power to Get There tire sale, get up to a $40 mail-in cash card with the purchase of 4 select Goodyear tires, or double your cash card up to $80 when you make your purchase on your Goodyear credit card. Offers end May 28th. Call 1-877-GOODYEAR for the tri-state area Goodyear tire professionals near you. For complete details, call 1-877-GOODYEAR. That's 1-877-GOODYEAR. Certain restrictions and conditions apply. Goodyear credit card purchases subject to credit approval.
This Mother's Day, give Mom something that helps her do more, like the hot new Upstage wireless phone by Samsung at Radio Shack. It has stereo Bluetooth, MP3 player, and up to 16 hours playtime with extended battery case, so Mom can go from talking to music at the touch of a button.
The Upstage by Samsung from Sprint is only $99.99 at Radio Shack. After $50 Sprint mail-in rebate with qualifying new or upgrade 2-year subscriber agreement. Radio Shack. Don't just buy stuff. Do stuff. Good through 5/13/07 with credit approval. $36 activation and $200 early termination fees apply. Allow 8 to 12 weeks for rebate. Details in store.
Running a small business is like raising a child. You nurture it, giving up your time and energy just to make sure it grows and stays healthy. You sacrifice yourself to give it every chance at success. But if you haven't incorporated yet, it could all disappear in an instant, taking with it your personal assets like your car, your life savings, even your home. Fortunately, incorporating your business is fast and easy. In fact, you can do it in just 10 minutes. And there's an easy way to find out more. Just request a free guide today and learn about the wonderful benefits of incorporation from the company corporation. We don't offer legal or financial advice, but we have been helping people incorporate for over 100 years. Call 1-800-400-6213. Protect your family and personal assets by forming a corporation or a limited liability company. Take your first step by requesting a free guide. Call 1-800-400-6213. 1-800-400-6213. That's 1-800-400-6213.
The Tri-State Lincoln Mercury Dealers Fan Highway Patrol brought to you by the Home Depot. Learn how to make your yard stand out. Speak to Home Depot's certified nursery consultants and find easy-to-grow Vigoro flowers. Look for the freshest plants from local growers every week. The Home Depot, you can do it and we can help. Hutchinson River Parkway northbound, after Fallon Parkway, all lanes are cleared. That tractor trailer wandered on the roadway. That's been backed off. Over in Clifton, New Jersey, Route 3 westbound after Main Avenue, overturned vehicle. They have a pole down. The left lane is open. Use another route to get there. Pulaski Skyway 109 outbound at Raymond Boulevard. Look for a stall block in the right lane. And still so busy at the inbound George Washington Bridge. 40-minute delays from 89 and 5 Express. That's because of that earlier volume out there. The construction on the overnight is just screwing up the mornings. You're slammed on the upper level. Take it downstairs. The WFAN 3-day forecast, early fog, then clouds, maybe a thunderstorm later. Upper 70s tomorrow, upper 70s again. Looking at Saturday, sunshine, low 70s. 66 and kind of cloudy in Central Park. I'm Tracy Burgess with the Tri-State Lincoln Mercury Dealers Fan Highway Patrol.
Thanks, Tracy. I took the upper deck of the GWB to work today, the George Washington Bridge. I live in Edgewater, right under. I literally live in the shadow of the George Washington Bridge, right under it, on the river.
Near Jeffrey's Lighthouse.
Right, just opposite on the other bank. I look right at it. And the 2 lanes were closed off, and the traffic was horrible, even though I get right on the bridge, right from the first entrance there. And what struck me is I drove all the way across the span, and then took to the Major Deegan and to the Bronx.
Okay.
And there were 2 lanes closed off. I didn't see one person working.
Isn't that annoying?
There was not one guy sweeping, not one guy hammering, no Rosie the Riveter.
No.
And I said to myself, the power that these people with these orange pylons have, that they put these things in the middle of the road,
that's all you need.
So now you have all of these semis that try to beat the rush hour. They're backed up to Kansas, and there's not a person working. I wonder what the gap time was. So I was coming across. It was already after 5, and I was a little late to get to Astoria, Queens, one of New York's fine 5 boroughs. To those who live out of the garden spot. Actually, it's nice here. It's certainly improved over when I was here last. And there was not a single person doing a thing, and it was just so frustrating. And I just wonder if it's a power trip, that the guy with the orange pylon just says, watch me screw up every semi, every commuter, especially you guys in Bentleys and Mercedes. I'm not going to make you crawl across the George.
Clearly,
they're getting across this bridge. They're wrong.
Chris Carlin, what do we think about Roger Clemens? I really identify with Roger Clemens. I feel like I'm an old man, but I could still throw 93, 94 miles an hour. Why not give the guy a job?
Anybody going to pay $18 million to do it?
Maybe not 18, but I'll make more than minimum wage.
Well, I mean, listen, the drama with which the Yankees did it the other day was just remarkable, and it, maybe a little bit over the top, but it is what it is. They bring him to the stadium, they introduce him there. I understand, but I am not I'm not the right person to ask.
Because you're a Mets fan?
I'm not a Yankee fan. Put it that way. But at the same time, you know what?
But as an organizational move, wasn't it the right move? I mean,
they needed pitching. Absolutely, they needed.
And they've hit it, so
they needed pitching in the worst way. The biggest issue right now is they are pretty much going to let him kind of do as he pleases in between starts. Which,
what do you mean? Like go to Vegas?
Not far off.
Absolutely. He was.
He pretty much can. Now, they say he can kind of come and go. He had a deal in Houston the last few years. He's from Houston where he could just, he could be at the ballpark the days that he pitched and, maybe one or two others, but he could kind of, go back and forth and hang out with his family and see his kids play and all that stuff.
If he can go 6.5 innings and strike out 5 or 6 people,
I'm sure they'll be all right.
I don't care what he does.
Yeah.
Except don't ride an ATV. That's be my only rule.
Well, I don't think that's going to be much of a problem for him. But Yankees won last night, even without him being ready quite yet. Sports is sponsored by the Sybase Classic, presented by ShopRite on May 14th through the 20th at the Upper Montclair Country Club in Clifton, New Jersey. They had a 6-2 win last night over the Rangers, thanks to 4 in the first inning, run-scoring doubles for Bobby Abreu and Hideki Matsui, and Derek Jeter drove in 3 runs on the night as well. Mike Messina, his second straight win, 6 innings and 2 runs in New York, now 7-2 in May. And for Mike Messina, the confidence of the team starting to show.
Once you get winning ball games, it gets kind of contagious, and we all feel like we want to go out there and play well, and we all want to go out there and pitch as well as the guy did before us. So we can keep putting out efforts like we have been. We're gonna play a lot better and put ourselves in a lot better position to win.
So they're rolling right now, and they have won 8 straight over Texas. Meanwhile, the Red Sox won last night 9-3 behind Daisuke Matsuzaka's 4th win of the year. Also had 4 home runs. The Blue Jays have lost 8 straight now. Orioles 1-0 win over the Devil Rays in 10 thanks to Aubrey Huff's walk-off home run. The White Sox beat the Twins 6-3. Mariners over the Tigers 9-2 to snap the Tigers' 8-game winning streak. Royals 3 and the A's 2 and the Angels got a game-breaking or whether a game tie-breaking homer, I could say that right, from Gary Matthews Jr. in the 8th inning to beat the Indians 3-2 the final. Los Angeles with the win there. Mets went out in San Francisco 5-3 over the Giants. David Wright with a 2-run double off Armando Benitez in the top of the 9th to win it. Other National League scores, it was the Braves 3-2 winners over the Padres. Dodgers 5, Marlins 3. Ryan Howard with a pinch hit grand slam in the 7th inning. Phillies beat the Diamondbacks 9-3. And the Astros beat the Reds 3-2. Cubs 1-0 over the Pirates behind Jason Marquis' 3-hitter. Brewers have won 6 straight, and the Nationals have lost 8 straight. 3-1 the final there. And the Cardinals, Chuck, win last night by a final of 9-2. All right. Jazz overcame a 5-point deficit with 52 seconds left. They beat the Warriors 127-117 in overtime. They're up 2-0. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., Chuck, later today expected to announce he is leaving DEI.
Teresa's folly. Teresa Earnhardt, his stepmom, letting him go. I mean, he's taking Budweiser with him. He's taking everything with him, and
she has screwed this up.
I think so.
So it looks like he's going to form his own Nextel Cup team next season. And that's sports.
Charles, you're a Cardinals fan. Why did you note with some exclamation the Cardinals?
I am indeed. Born and raised in Southwest Missouri. I'm a hillbilly. Just started wearing shoes a couple of months ago.
What about the flooding out there?
The flooding that's in the northwestern corner particularly bad, but as they say, not as bad as the 1993 flooding, which was really catastrophic. But boy, this is really significant.
Chris, what did Bonds do last night?
Bonds yesterday afternoon, he did not homer. He had his 745th. I got to look. I think he had 1 hit yesterday.
And what is our policy here at the network on Bonds?
Well,
and,
I think basically
the Hank Aaron record.
Listen, everybody looks at it as he's cheating, and it is what it is. But and the biggest thing that works against Bonds is everybody hates him because he's just not a friendly guy. Very sourpuss is putting it mildly, very kindly, and there is not a lot of excitement out there to break what is probably the greatest record in professional sports.
I think he may be the greatest player in modern history.
Well, I don't think there's any getting around that either.
I interviewed his girlfriend, who testified that she saw him applying this clear substance and all the rest of it. And I found her very believable. And on the other hand, I felt like a jerk doing the story because, steroids don't make the bat touch the ball.
Oh, you got to put the bat on the ball.
You got to put the bat on the ball, and this guy has been so incredible in this career.
The other way to look at it is so many guys have been thought to have done it, and this guy continued to go and do what he was doing anyway. So even if the playing field was level and everybody was cheating, he was still better than everybody else.
And, people cheat in different ways. I mean, in the early days, didn't they cork their bats and, and pitchers scuff the ball?
Sure.
Or spitters. I remember spitters when I was a kid.
All that stuff probably still goes on.
You got to factor in the human frailty. It's 745 home runs alone.
Yeah. What really works against Bonds is his attitude.
Yeah.
I mean, that really kills him. He does not. I have never seen anyone who honestly just does not care about what anybody else thinks more than Barry Bonds.
Yeah, and it's so different. Sammy Sosa, what a nice guy. And I as a semi-Cubs fan, watching him during those great years and then hearing the news about him and McGuire and all the rest of it, that's kind of disheartening. But you couldn't meet a nicer person. He's just so cheerful, constantly cheerful, cheering up his team. He had great quick hands, good fielder, and then he fell down with Palmeiro.
After that wonderful season with McGuire and Sosa.
It reminded you, Charles, of why we love baseball.
Yeah, oh, absolutely it did. It brought
especially you in St. Louis.
We got to take a quick break here again, Geraldo. It is now 22 minutes till the hour.
You are listening to Geraldo Rivera on Sports Radio 66, WFAN. Tonight.
Here we go. Survivor's ready.
Good, man. Good. Don't miss The Last Survivor. Go. Until Sunday's finale.
This is nuts. Totally different than I ever expected.
Think you know what will happen? No way.
Okay, comes down to this.
Then, Lady Heather is back on CSI. Hurt, in pain, almost murdered. Why won't she tell who attacked her?
She was here.
With me. And the hit drama Without a Trace returns to Thursday for the season finale. One agent's violent acts set free.
I just want to remind you that I stopped my agents from killing you.
I'm sure it was hard.
Yeah, it was.
Now, if you would have let me
61 heavy rain in Central Park. I'm Tracy Burgess with the Tri-State Lincoln Mercury Dealers and Highway Patrol.
Tracy, tell us about Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts in Astoria?
Yeah, when you go in there, you look great this morning. And when you go in there, all dolled up, how do they treat you there?
I have these 20-somethings that are hitting on me at that hour in the morning. And it's 3:30.
Are they at the beginning of their day or at the end of their day?
At the end of their day.
So
Clearly
you kind of have a totally different biorhythm happening.
Well, they have, delusions of grandeur going on inside their heads.
Especially at 3:30.
And I'm saying to them, honey, you have no clue how old I am. Just, you go home and go to bed now. Be safe. I'm going to get my coffee and go to work.
And how do they take that? Do they?
Sexy mama.
Hey, baby. Especially those Spanish guys. They got a way. It's so smooth, that the noises some of us.
But it's 3:30 in the morning.
Well, I guess with a shot of caffeine, it's. But you handle it with grace, I'm sure, as you do all things.
Oh, you're sweet.
Charles, sir, as we go forward, today is commencement at Virginia Tech. What a melancholy event that inevitably will be. But I feel so badly for them all, and to have, I guess it's kind of a jump cut to go from Dunkin' Donuts to Virginia Tech, but you have a situation where you just think about the kids and how what if they're seniors this year? I mean, even if they're unaffected in a direct way, and so many of them had friends and roommates or friends of friends, I think it's a very emotional time. And to think that they are, their college graduation will always be associated with this most horrific shooting in American history. It's, I feel badly for the kids. I mean, many of them, I wonder if they're all going to show up. I love the spirit they had.
Well, the big front page story is, as one might expect, in the Washington Post this morning, below the fold, and the subhead is Class of 2007, Forever Scarred by Tragedy, will graduate tonight. And it is interesting to think about how many of them will, what the mindset will be and what kind of ceremony can it be. It just is impossible to think about. It really is.
Chris, were you at the Yankee game yesterday?
I was.
It was awful.
It was a rough day for the Yankees, no question.
But how did Chien-Ming Wang? I mean, he was so great last time.
Yeah, he's going to be fine. I mean,
what happened?
It was just he got hit. You know,
did he get hit? Were they real good hits, or were they?
You know what? He didn't pitch horribly for the first 4 or 5 innings. The Yankees made some mistakes in the field. They had a rundown play between third and home that went awry. They fielded a ball in the outfield badly. And, after that, it just kind of fell apart for him in the 7th inning. He wasn't horrible early, but he just didn't have it.
Is A-Rod an emotional guy?
I think emotional is, I wouldn't say outwardly emotional where you can tell what he's thinking all the time or he wears it on his sleeve, but certainly he is a little bit sensitive in that he knows everything in the press that is being said about him. Everything. Reads every paper, listens to the talk shows, knows everything. And when you're
huge mistake.
Exactly. When you're a guy like A-Rod,
mistake.
I never read a review of my show because I could have 10 great reviews and one lousy one, and the only one I remember is the last.
That was going to stay with you.
That's going to stay with you. But at that level, I mean, he is arguably the best hitter. Well,
he's the best talent. Best
all-around talent. I think that's a fair statement. And he's been around. It's not like he's a rookie. And to ride an emotional roller coaster.
Well,
I worry about him. I worry, like last year's playoffs. I thought that was a whole psych thing that happened to him.
I think it's completely fair, and it has been the case since he's been here in New York. When he was in Seattle, when he was in Texas, there wasn't that pressure from the city to overcome and be this guy. But when he came here, it was the whole load was put on because he has the richest contract in baseball history, and that's what it's been about.
Then the biggest expectations
Absolutely.
when he came here.
Is it true that Texas Rangers still pay him $10 million?
Yes, it is true.
So the Yankees
to get rid of him.
So the Yankees pay 15?
It's a little bit less. The Yankees pay about 17.5, and Texas pays about 8.5.
And he's going to be a free agent.
Well, he can be. He can opt out of his contract at the end of the year.
So if the Yankees sign him next year, they have to pay the whole amount.
Yes. If he decides to opt out of his contract, which he will because his agent is famous, Scott Boras, for always going after every last penny, that he will opt out of the contract and then he'll be a free agent. So there's the thought process maybe the Cubs would be interested because his former manager Lou Piniella's there, and they have a great affection for one another, and they're going to be able to pay a lot of money. So the Yankees, if A-Rod opts out, which everybody thinks that he will, they will have to re-sign him.
Why does everyone think he will?
Because of the money factor. Because there is this, I mean, you look at how he's played this season so far, and really got off to the tremendous start, and it's calmed down a little bit. The thought process was, he will go and try to get a 5-year contract now worth $135 million or something like that, and it's not outlandish to think that he couldn't.
5 years is great for him, and I guess he could earn that money. Chicago would be great. Also, the town would welcome him. They desperately need him. The Cubbies need something going on.
If he does not opt out, he still gets 3 years and $81 million. So he's not doing that badly.
Bad for the guy. Chris,
how is he going to scrape it together and get by?
I want to get more sports from you, but I want to take a quick break so we can get to my buddy Tacopina in Rome, the Eternal City, at the bottom of the hour. So let's take a quick break, and we'll be back with more sports news on WFAN.
You are listening to Geraldo Rivera on Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Do you know the difference between the millions of millionaires in this country and you? Simple. They decided they wanted to be millionaires, so they went out and did it. So, do you want to be a millionaire? If the answer is yes, then get ready to write down a number that could change your life forever. Because now you can get a free CD that shows you everything you need to start making the kind of money you deserve with an internet business that virtually runs itself. So you're making cash even while you're sleeping by selling products you don't have to see, store, or even pay for. There are millions of millionaires out there. Don't you want to be one of them? Get the free CD from Internet Speedway and start making money with an internet business that virtually runs itself. For your free CD, call 1-800-900-1785. Deciding to be wealthy is the first step to becoming wealthy. Call now. 1-800-900-1785. The free CD is yours by calling 1-800-900-1785.
MajorWorld.com proudly presents Auto Scoop. Finally, New York has a new way to shop for cars. Auto Scoop, the searchable online consumer database of new and used cars and trucks for sale in the New York area. Go to WFAN.com.
And search by make, model, year, total price, warranty data, even search by monthly payment.
Get the scoop. Auto Scoop. Sponsored by MajorWorld.com. Home of 2,000 cars to choose from. 1% is all you pay to drive away. 1-800-MAJOR-AUTO.
Great progress today, Multi-Blade.
I agree. Yeah, let's cut something.
I'm sorry?
You should be.
Stop it. We're doing so well.
The only thing we should be doing is chopping up hair and skin.
Wait, who's this now? I cut new areas.
I cut new areas. No one cares, Precision Blade. There's a lot of crazy blades out there. That's why there's Nivea for Men Replenishing Aftershave Balm. It soothes and helps heal razor burn. I apologize. No, you don't. You're a lying sucker. You don't. Replenishing Aftershave Balm. Only from Nivea for Men.
Travelocity presents the Big Mountain Sale.
I'll be booking a trip to the mountains when I come.
Save $75 on a flight and 4-night hotel to a great mountain destination.
Saving 75 big ones when I come.
That's $75 off when you book with your MasterCard card by May 31st.
I'll be hiking, climbing, swimming, fishing, boating, birding, mountaineering.
Visit Travelocity.com for details.
And relaxing in my hammock when I'm done.
Travelocity. You'll never roam alone.
Get in the zone. AutoZone. Are your brakes giving you trouble? If so, head to AutoZone. At AutoZone, we've expanded our already extensive line of brakes. From a huge selection of brake pads to hoses and fluid. You can count on AutoZone to have it all. Remember, when you go to AutoZone for your brake needs, you get everything you need to do the job right the first time, every time. So get to AutoZone and stay safe on the road. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Imagine living truly debt-free. No credit card debt, no car payments, no mortgage. You can do this with just the money you already make and actually improve your credit score. I'm John Commuta, creator of the Transforming Debt into Wealth program. I did it, and so have more than 1 million others using my proven system.
I'm completely debt-free now, thanks to John Commuta.
I will be able to pay off my house in approximately 2.5 years on a 30-year mortgage.
It works no matter how much debt you have or how much money you make. My system doesn't consolidate your debt, it eliminates it, so you can permanently insulate your credit status. Let me send you a free tape showing you the power of my proven system.
And once we got on the system, we were able to eliminate about 90% of our debt.
Call now, and I'll rush you my free tape. Call 1-800-400-9887. 1-800-400-9887. That's 1-800-400-9887.
Geraldo Rivera here with Charles McCord, my buddy Joe Tacopina, one of the best criminal defense attorneys in the land. Is not in the land, though. He's in Rome. You know him, Charles?
Quite well. Mr. Tacopina, in the Eternal City, the Eternal Metrosexual.
Joe, you are the first, welcome, you are the first friend of mine I knew that ever got his nails polished.
That's never happened. Geez, I'm sorry. I thought I was canceled.
Tacopina always looks really great.
And even his toenails.
Really put together.
You saw my toenails?
You wear those open-toe flip-flops.
Oh, yeah.
So what are you doing in Rome, Joe?
Well, I have representing really the Mickey Mantle of soccer, Giorgio Canali. I don't know if you remember Giorgio, played for the Cosmos and was an Italian soccer legend.
I do indeed.
You know, he's the ESPN soccer analyst
What is he accused of?
Well, unfortunately, the Italian system's a little different. He's really not accused of anything, yet they have an arrest warrant out, and they're trying to extradite him, and that's what we're fighting with right now regarding a stock manipulation case over here for a soccer team called Lazio that he was going to become president of. The funny thing is, there's no charges against Canaglia. There's no evidence against Canaglia, but they're in the investigation stage, which in Italy could take years, and they get to detain you when you're in the investigation stage. So
is he detained?
No, he's safe and sound in New Jersey right now, and I'm here in Rome trying to squash this extradition warrant. So that's where we're at, and we're actually going to proceed to trial in the fall in this case in Rome, which is not a horrible place to be on trial.
Will your client have to physically be present?
No, absolutely not. I mean, clearly, if there's
So do you go to jail in his stead if you're convicted?
Exactly. Well, I don't know. I have to check out those rules, but if that's the possibility. Maybe his lawyer won't be present either. We'll have to see about
How
that.
much money is involved?
Money? We're talking about the hundreds of millions of dollars. This is one of the great soccer teams in Italy.
So you got cash up front? Mr. Green showed up before you took the case?
Yeah, well, listen, aside from my love for the law and the Constitution, I also have kids, and certainly that's an aspect of what we do.
And a Maserati.
Oh, wait, it's whatever.
No, not whatever. How do you take a case like that New Jersey woman who cut her husband up and floated him in various suitcases in the Chesapeake, or was it the Delaware, one of those bays, and you have a pretty reasonable notion going in, of course you don't know for certain, that she indeed is the cutter packager of Daddy.
I love the humor in this. Oh, my God. One, I believe in her.
I got up at 2 o'clock. My baby woke me up.
I believe in her innocence. I really do. I understand it was a tough case going in. We understand all the circumstantial evidence that was involved in it. And, we went in with our eyes wide open. I believe in her innocence, although I think there were explanations for most, if not all, of the circumstantial evidence. But, look, we knew it was a tough case. And I've never been one to shy away from taking tough cases. So, I think it was Hemingway who said the only battles worth fighting are the ones, the losing battles, so to speak. So whatever.
Hemingway said it. Tecafina said it. Someone said it.
We're not done fighting yet, guys. I mean, there's really some substantial appellate issues there, and that's a whole different discussion.
But how do you feel when you lose? How do you feel when you lose a case like that, where the woman now faces life, basically?
Oh my God, it's the well. My profession is a really unique one. I mean, the highs are exhilarating. I mean, when you stand next to someone who is acquitted and exonerated, you feel like you saved a life. And when you stand next to someone who's convicted for something like that, it's like you were in a train wreck. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's horrible. And if you can't take that you don't have that medal, you really cannot do this. Because look, when this happened, when that verdict was read, again, I understood what the risks were going in, and I understood what the potential verdict could be. When it was read, she was pulling on my lapel, talking to me, and obviously very emotional, talking about her children and her babies, and saying, my babies. She has 2 special needs children who are now parentless, basically, unless this is overturned. And it was a real tough moment to be in any criminal defense attorney. The losses are hard and the wins are exhilarating, and that's why you sort of have to try and maintain a balance.
So far, you're winning with Joran Vandersloot in the Natalie Holloway case. What came of that raid by the Dutch authorities on the property of the Vandersloots in Aruba? We made much of it on the air, and I guess everyone tracked it for a couple of days, but then it disappeared off the radar screen again. What have you heard?
As I suspected, and as I stated actually on your show first, Geraldo, when I went on there on Fox, I said that this is the beginning of the end for them. This is the Dutch authorities coming in, taking a fresh look. We're approaching the 2-year period where Joran has to be removed as a suspect, which has legal significance in Aruba, because they can't continue to do an investigation against him without getting court-ordered permission. I think they're just giving it one last look. I think they don't want anyone to question whether or not they should have done something else, if they should have. Look, they moved every grain of sand on that island looking for evidence against Joran Vandersloot and for this girl, quite frankly. And I think the one thing they wanted to do was complete the search of the house, which was limited in scope in the first go-around. But this further goes to prove what I've been saying since day one, and when I got into this case, this kid is 100% innocent. He's not, I'm almost sure he's innocent. He's 100% innocent.
I saw that search by the Dutch, and they're very high-tech and modern and thorough and professional, and I said to myself, why the hell didn't they do this 2 years ago? I mean,
you're right.
Isn't it reasonable to assume that if anyone involved with the Vandersloots had been involved in Natalie Holloway's disappearance, and he was initially
the Barry Bonds thing? Oh, yeah. He's getting closer and closer to getting Hammer and Hank's home run record. And not many people too happy about that, Ope. No. With the steroid accusations, a lot of people, I think it's just nostalgia. Yeah. I think they want Hank Aaron's record to just stay there. People don't like when records are broken, especially records that old, because it kind of reminds you that you're getting a little older. Thank you.
Can somebody explain to me why smoking is going to make a movie rated R now? There's a new thing now where it's going to affect your ratings if it's a new extension. They're going to factor underage smoking into the rating of films. Is the smoking pervasive? Does the film glamorize smoking? And is there historic or other mitigating context? that could make it a rated R movie if it just shows like a bunch of young people smoking and glamorizing the cigarettes. That could make it a rated R film.
Well, Jimmy, we live in scary times. Scary times. I don't know what to tell you on this one. It's
very frightening.
It's very outrageous that they would make a movie rated R because someone's smoking in it.
I think if a character should be smoking a cigarette in a movie, it's part of the art of the writer.
Of course.
And perhaps that person should be smoking a cigarette and not have to change the rating based clearly on that. Sometimes people play evil, bad people in the movies, or people that smoke cigarettes. What does it matter? Do you think that's going to get kids to smoke? And who would determine what is a person smoking a cigarette in a glamorous fashion, or in a fashion that is just part of the?
I'm sorry,
the weather girl. Wow, we haven't seen her.
Staff.
Is that Telemundo?
Of course it is.
All right, leave on Telemundo.
Oh my God.
They sure know how to pick weather girls.
Oh my God, they know how to pick everybody. They're all supermodels doing the news with just nothing but cleavage.
That's not news.
It's like porno with headlines.
Who cares what they're saying? Did you see the weather girl in that tiny sundress?
Stopped my stupid cigarette story dead in its tracks.
I have no idea what you were talking about now.
Neither did I. It's okay.
Oh my God. You got to be really hot to do the news for Telemundo. I'm outraged by that, by the way. I don't think that should be a prerequisite
I don't think
for doing
looks
the news.
Looks should never come into play.
All right.
As far as talent goes.
Are you done with this smoking thing, though?
Oh, I might as well be. I'm just saying it seems a little silly. And who's going to judge in what context a person is smoking? Is that going to be the film rating commission? Are they going to sit there and say, that person's smoking, I feel it's glamorous?
Yeah, what are you, smoking in a tiara while people watch you smoke and just clap and go, ooh, you're so old.
Look how he smokes. With one of those big cigarette holders, like oldie times.
It's the culture wars. What can I tell you? It doesn't make sense, but they'll get it done. They'll get it done.
I think, here's what we have to do. Run things like Barney, Dora the Explorer, Bob the Builder, things like that, all day long on every channel. Because that way, everybody's safe. I like it. I like that idea. The kids will be safe, and it is really all about the children.
Yeah.
So if they want to do this with the smoking in the movies, I'm all for it.
Hey, Chris, from Pennsylvania. It's What's Your Beef Friday.
Hey, Chris, what's your beef?
What's my beef?
We should have a sound effect.
Why are fat people considered handicapped?
Well, overweight people, I would say.
Overweight Americans.
Yeah. Overweight Americans.
Overweight Americans.
Why are they considered handicapped? Because some of these people have glandular problems. It's a medical issue, and it doesn't qualify as somebody who's just maybe overeating, and that's a handicap because being that big.
You talk. Why should we talk?
No, he should talk because he has something very important to say, Jimmy.
It's his beef. Excuse me, I'm sorry,
Jimmy.
Chris. It is your beef. Go ahead.
On What's Your Beef Friday.
What's Your Beef Friday?
We allow the listeners to shine, so it's quite fine that he's interrupting us a lot.
Go ahead. We should know how What's Your Beef Friday works, Opie.
Well, of course.
And give the listeners a little more latitude.
We've been doing it for 12 years.
Go ahead, Chris. What's your beef?
What's your beef?
Because Jimmy will chime in sometimes out of nowhere, and the person won't even be able to get their beef out.
My apologies. No disrespect intended.
All right, Chris.
Why are a lot of people welcoming me to New Jersey today, by the way?
Give us your beef.
I've driven through New Jersey many, many times. I appreciate the fans of New Jersey big time. When we did the ONA Traveling Virus at the PNC last year, it was beyond amazing how many people showed up. We love Jersey as far as the show goes, but I've never lived in New Jersey. I live in Manhattan.
Good rule of thumb to remember, Jimmy, Jersey.
But Jimmy doesn't even live in Jersey.
But he's from Jersey.
Jimmy lives in Manhattan. I live in Manhattan. Anthony lives on Long Island. I'm from Long Island. Would love to move back to Long Island. But Jersey, they're all welcoming me to Jersey today. I don't know what that's about.
Chris, what's your beef?
All right, Chris.
Oh, we heard his beef.
We were at Disney World last week, right?
Yeah.
And we're waiting for the bus to go to the parks and stuff. I'm with my two kids. It's 95 degrees out. We have two overweight people in their handicapped carts waiting to be put on the bus.
Yes, I've seen a lot of that. I've been to Disney myself many times and seen a lot of overweight people utilizing the Little Rascal scooters and other types of scooters that they use. And, you got to, Chris, well, what's your problem? Why? Because you're at Disney, you got to relax a little bit. Take a little time and realize these people might have some issues and let them get on the bus. What's the rush? You're at Disney.
Well, I would understand if they're, it was an amputee or the person was, these are people obviously overeating.
Yeah. All right. Well, you don't know. You can't really judge that. I think people maybe ought to take a little more time, especially in that situation. You're at Disney. It's time to relax. Don't worry about it so much.
Well, I've had a theory my whole life, and then when I was on vacation, I actually read it in a magazine. I'm like, all right, I was onto something. People are born with a body type, and you have that body type, and you could be, within I don't know, 20 pounds, 25 pounds of that weight either way.
Right.
Because there are people out there that are really big, and I look at them and go, there's no way in the world I could ever get that big.
Right.
And I was reading this magazine, and they backed my theory that you are born with a body type, and then it's up to you to decide where you're going to fall within that body type.
Right.
You have to make decisions on your eating, and, Dr. Ian Smith was on the show yesterday. He said that he saw a 400-pound woman in front of an ice cream truck, and he was amazed. He's a diet guru,
Yep.
He was amazed, and Jimmy was saying, look, she's making that choice.
Mm-hmm.
She could be eating a salad, but she's decided she really needs her ice cream.
Well, he saw her in front of the ice cream truck, and he didn't even notice the truck was there until he walked around her.
We found out our own E-Rock had a little bit of a weight issue. More serious than we thought yesterday when Dr. Ian Smith called him obese.
Right.
We just thought he was a little overweight or chubby. And it turns out he was obese. Dr. Ian Smith then gave him $500.
Actually, E-Rock, you got Dr. Ian Smith's $500 on you, right?
Yeah.
Here's the deal. You have to lose 20 pounds?
20 pounds in 7 weeks.
By what day?
June 28th.
By June 28th. If he loses the 20 pounds by June 28th, maybe we could put it on a blog or something, E-Rock gets to keep the $500.
Right.
From Dr. Ian Smith. If you do not lose the 20 pounds, then you have to give back the $500 plus another 100.
Plus
right?
another 100. And if you spent that 500 thinking you got it in the bag, he is going to pretty much beat the crap out of you. And he could do it. He's in shape.
Hey, you hear about these
Good luck
high-tech
to you.
cabs? Thank you, Chris.
High-tech cabs. We're done with What's Your Beef?
For now, until we get we got to...
All right, remember, it's What's Your Beef Friday.
Yeah, we got to get a good one. So far, we've heard most of these before.
That was a good one, I think, though.
All right.
The overweight people.
High-tech cabs in New York City.
Oh, great story. I read this one this morning.
Yeah. Well, they're making the cabs a little fancier.
Mm-hmm.
Making your ride a bit more pleasurable.
Right.
Yellow cabs are going high-tech, but not everyone is happy about the change. The Taxi and Limousine Commission voted unanimously yesterday, requiring all cabs to have new touchscreen monitors and credit card machines. Now, the upgrades will allow passengers to pay their fares using credit cards. It'll allow them to watch news updates and read restaurant reviews. Medallion owners, not drivers, will have to pay for these upgrades. They're required to be in place by the cab's next inspection period, which is between October and February. Supporters say this will make cabs more user-friendly and could lead to higher tips, but not everyone agrees.
The public hated the TV taxis that the TLC tested back in 2002.
Well, they're talking to a child.
We don't understand why 5 years later they're bringing it back and at a price tag of $5,000.
Yeah.
I get into a cab to get from point A to point B. I don't care what kind of gadgetry is in there. And for the most part, if I look at anything except out the window, I get sick. I feel nauseous and queasy. So, for the most part, I don't need any gadgets in there. Although I do like the credit card payment because I don't like exchanging money. You know, I have a thing about germs a little bit.
Yeah.
Just about germs. And a lot of people I talk to, my aunt, let me tell you a little story about my aunt. She got in a cab.
Can it be a long story?
I'll give it a whirl.
All right.
In the city with some other relatives.
Yeah.
And they had to take a cab. And there were, I believe, 4 of them. So 3 were in the back seat, and she had to get into the front seat. And the cab driver, she was being asked questions by the rest of the family from the back seat, and she wouldn't answer. She's just sitting stiff in the cab. And finally, when they got out, she said she looked over, and there was a big bottle sitting there on the seat next to her that the cab driver was using to relieve himself. Now, I think we've all done this before. You're out on the street, especially as a kid. Maybe you're doing something bad, putting a few suds down while you're driving. I used to do that when I was a kid. And, you have to relieve yourself. So you use a beer bottle, which is very difficult. And sometimes you're not good at hitting the target, let's say.
Well, the problem I always have with the beer bottle,
yeah,
you underestimated.
That's another thing,
too. What you needed to do.
Wasn't there wasn't there this panic that came upon you when you saw that it was getting above the label on the bottle, and you're like, I don't think I'm at cutoff volume yet.
You just underestimate what your bladder could hold.
Yeah, you're really kind of like
complete panic sets in. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to aim. So you might get something on your hands, and if you're alone and you're 20 in your car hanging out with your friends or something, that doesn't really matter. If you're a cab driver, you're exchanging money with people. So and even if he doesn't get anything on his hands, he's got to touch certain areas, and then touch his money and give it to you. So I am all for these credit cards in the cabs.
I talk to a lot of cabbies because I'm bored, and I take cabs almost every day, so I get to know them a little bit. And some just don't even want to acknowledge that you exist because they openly hate you because
they're miserable.
Yeah, and they all admit that they can't really pull over to go to a restroom.
For some sort of accommodation by some entity somewhere that might one day bring Mr. Imus back. Well, I think that would be what all of us would hope. I'll speak only for myself. My immediate family, because they signed the contract, I get to speak for them on radio. Yeah. The fact is, it would be such a nice thing to see the CBS management, the Al Sharptons, the Jesse Jacksons, all of those who blinded themselves in some sort of almost religious fervor over what I consider to have been a really stupid thing to have done. Absolutely. Unforgivable. Well, but an apology was made, and an apology was accepted.
I think I would only disagree if I may, Charles. We're 14 minutes into this broadcast. I want to argue with you. I do think it's forgivable. I think if we get to the
I misspoke. Not unforgivable because it was forgiven.
Yeah. I just think we're getting to a crazy stage in this society of ours. We all make mistakes.
Yes.
And we all do things that we wish to heck we hadn't done.
Absolutely.
I've lived a whole life of those things.
I have as well.
And, I just like to see some common sense, some proportionality, some perspective arrive here. Where I can, once again listen to Don Imus call me this dumb old fat guy. I kind of miss that,
a lot of people do. A lot of people miss those affronts from Mr. Imus.
hardly commensurate with, or in any way, that stupid remark, which will, never be re-articulated by me. But, what Don was and is an equal opportunity of insulter, offender, affronter.
Sure.
And what'd you call him?
An equal, well, you're right. I mean, there's something along those lines, but and committed that particular infraction, which was a horrible one, but committed in the overall framework of what is an information and entertainment program that everybody has been familiar with for 35 years or however long that the I-Man has been amongst us.
Well, you've spent a lot of that time with him.
Oh, yeah.
I can imagine.
Almost all of it, yeah.
I can only imagine your feelings. And I have to say again, Charles McCord is the class of the breed, and it's just a great honor to be sitting here in the same studio with you.
Thank you, Lou. I feel the same.
And it's a great pleasure. And by golly, that's the last nice thing anybody's going to have to say here. Well, we've got a lot coming up. You want to lead us?
Well, you know what? I guess I should just run down a few of the headline stories for you at this hour. 60 minutes, or should we take a break here? You want to take a break here first, Danny?
Well, we can take a break.
Okay.
Chuck.
All right. Well, let's do that, and then we'll come back on the other side, and we'll just look at the headlines quickly. And Lou Dobbs, here in the morning.
If you are successful at what you do,
Of the history of the program, that somehow got caught up in the velocity of all of this, and I just it is so wildly off target in honestly describing what happened here, who he is, and the history of the program that I deeply regret that is part of the account that got out there totally wrong.
You know, if I can just add a postscript as a radio person also, as someone who's been fired many times, I can tell you that in radio it's very easy to get fired. Sometimes you get fired because a boss wants to bring in his friend or because he doesn't like the way you part your hair. To have carved out a continuous 35-year or 38-year career is such an achievement in radio that, from my perspective, it was just a shame that it ended the way it ended.
Right. And I'm not defending the remark. Don't get me wrong.
Nobody misunderstands that. But
absolutely not.
But look, the bottom line, though, I just want to make clear, the bottom line is I appreciate you being here, Chuck. We're going to spend the next several days together. You're over at FAN, and we are on the air on MSNBC, and you know, I think if you had your choice, that wouldn't be your first choice. But the bottom line is I appreciate you being here, and I can barely see you because that place is lit over there like Artie Bucco's place in The Sopranos. So
you look like
I barely know who you are.
He looks like he's being held hostage in a basement over there.
Well, funny you should put it that way.
I am in a basement, and there are hostage aspects.
It is 17 after the hour. We're coming right back.
life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you...
This is David Gregory, WFAN in New York and radio around the country, and on MSNBC this morning. I'm here with Leslie Gold from 92.3 FM in New York. And Leslie, it's great because I'm just getting to know you. So this is, we just met last night.
Mm-hmm.
And I listened to a little bit of your show, 3 to 6 in the afternoon.
Did I offend you? Because I'll
No.
apologize now.
No, not at all.
Oh,
But it was a very interesting story, actually, that you were in the business world and you were on your own
Yes,
window manufacturing company.
I was. I have a degree from Harvard Business School.
Right.
No one believes this because I do a rather tasteless show from time to time. But
I didn't find it that tasteless.
Well, you caught me on a good day.
Yeah.
And I ran a window manufacturing company for 10 years and then sold it to a Fortune 100 company and then decided to go into radio.
Right.
My thought being I'm too ugly for TV, so how
No,
about radio?
not at all.
That was my thought.
Well, and you're just getting to know me, and obviously Charles and Lou can help you with that.
Right.
They've known me
Although,
for the past several years.
in my
She'll learn.
My research on you, I saw you dancing with Karl Rove. What was that about?
That was those were good moves. Those were not my best moves. It was an unfortunate situation where we're at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and they've got this little improv group, and they pulled Brian Williams on the stage, and one of our vice presidents, Cheryl Gould, at NBC News. They were very funny. They did a little bit, the guys, whose line is it anyway? And then they pulled me up there with Karl Rove and my producer, Ken Strickland. And I just thought, there's no way this is going to end well.
No.
There's no scenario here under which I come out okay. Because as you know, a little something about that crowd, they're not really with you. They're not hoping you succeed in that group.
You had your heart in it, though. You were busting a move.
I did, but I was trying to keep it low-key. I've danced on television in other ways where I've put myself out there a little bit. It is 24 minutes after the hour. John Harwood's coming up to talk about the Republican debate. We'll talk to Andrea Mitchell. Chris Matthews later on. Senator Chris Dodd's going to be here to talk about Iraq. And Chuck, I'm very excited about Lorraine Bracco being here.
That is good.
That is because I'm a legit. Here's the deal. I don't cover entertainment, right? So I'm not. I mean, I think the publicist for The Soprano thinks I'm a bit of a whack job because I said, look, I'm just a fan. I really want to get into what's going on with these characters, and sort of understand who these characters are.
Obviously, from this week's episode, you saw Tony kill his nephew.
Right.
Right. What did you think? That to me was very out of character. That surprised me.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things going on there that has to do with the killing of Adriana several seasons ago, and this kind of tension between Christopher and Tony. I think that's been building. I think Tony felt that Christopher was weak and was worried about him going to the feds. I just think there's a lot of stuff going on there. But it is kind of a darker side, and I'm hopeful that Lorraine Bracco, who I think is fabulous, and by the way, I just watched the entire first season again
No kidding.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago.
So have you seen the evolution of Tony's character?
Yeah, evolution of his character, evolution of her character as well. And Chuck and Lou, I don't have a lot going on, actually, in my life. I'm spending a lot of time, because I'm really into some of these. I was like this with The Godfather when I was a kid in Scarface, and I would just watch these things over and over again. In a kind of numbing-like state.
That is unfortunate. Maybe you should talk to Ms. Bracco more on a professional level
on that point
based
as well.
on her character.
Hey, Chris Carlin is here as well. Chris, good morning.
Hey, who is this today, Chuck? I'm sorry, they're all kind of running together now.
Whoa, what are you suggesting? There's been an odd collection of people who have been coming through?
If this is Wednesday, it must be a senior White House correspondent.
Andrea Mitchell next week, Chuck? Is that what we're looking at? Greenspan going to work his way in?
Look, this is a period of transition. It's we haven't quite leveled off at a comfortable cruising altitude.
Really, because the whole thing's all very comfortable.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Transition right now.
The important thing is, Lou, I have not sensed that Chuck has been uneasy over the past several weeks.
No, he's riding the wave like a great surfer.
But I did point out to him that I think at this point some of his random scribblings could be put together in a Unabomber-like manifesto. Geez, what are they saying? Why am I here?
I have moved into my shed. You're right.
Charles McCoy was a quiet man.
You're looking live at Wayne, New Jersey.
What's going on in sports? So the Yankees got rained out yesterday?
The Yankees got rained out last night, yes, so they will play a day-night doubleheader today with the Chicago White Sox. We'll start with the NBA playoffs because the Bulls found a way to survive for another day. They were down 3-0, and they've won the last 2 games. 108-92, they beat the Pistons in Detroit, forcing a Game 6 in Chicago Thursday night. Ben Gordon had 28 points, but the Golden State Warriors could not survive. They lost last night to Utah, 100-87, so Golden State is finished. Carlos Boozer had 21 points and 14 rebounds, 10 of which were offensive. Biggest news in the NBA playoffs right now, though, the suspensions of Amari Stoudemire and Boris Diaw of the Phoenix Suns. A lot of controversy surrounding this. Robert Horry of the Spurs was suspended as well. Horry got 2 games because of a flagrant foul the other night on Steve Nash, but Stoudemire and Diaw left the bench during that incident, so as a result, they took a couple of steps off. They will not play tonight, and that's a big problem as far as the Suns are concerned. So
one other baseball note. I guess the Dodgers beat the Cardinals last night.
I'm sorry, were you doing sports? Did you need me here this morning?
I'm just pointing out. I realize this is a New York station, but the important thing is that my view on this morning is that I'm just going to be myself. Unless I find that's not working for me. Listen,
and I hear the collective American applause for that, David.
I'm just trying to get a few things right. I don't mean to interrupt, Chris. Listen, because we only have 17 hours this morning. So Mark Chernoff is here, of course, program director, and I'm looking. I can't see him, but Chuck, I came in this morning, and it was very early on. He was on his back, a spread eagle on the floor, and I didn't think that was a great sign for how the morning was going to go. But I just want to check with him. Mark, in terms of, because it's 28 past, do you feel like I have to take a break? Is this in a couple of minutes, so I've got a little bit of time.
Oh, he'll let you know, don't worry.
Hey, man.
No, now.
Oh, my God. What's he doing?
Mark Chernoff has been very supportive, and he's here during, again, what can only be described as a slightly turbulent period of transition. Chris Carlin, what else going on?
Well, that was quite a little transition we made there, too. At any rate, so we'll see what happens tonight with the Suns and the Spurs. To get to baseball, in fact, yes, the Dodgers did beat the Cardinals last night, 9-7. Rafael Furcal had 4 hits for the 3rd straight game there. Also, the Astros beat the Giants 6-5 in 10 innings. No home runs for Barry Bonds. Carlos Lee had a pair, though, to win it for the Astros. Red Sox lose 7-2 to the Tigers, and it was Tampa Bay with a 4-3 win in 10 over the Texas Rangers. Some controversy, though, surrounding the New York Mets, and outfielder Lastings Millage, he is catching some heat, ironically, over some lyrics in a rap song he has written. The song is called Benjanese, where he uses the N-word, also bitch, among other colorful words. So the kicker, he's not even in the major leagues right now. He's in AAA, and the song has come out. So Mets management not too pleased with Lastings Millage at this point. And that's sports. I'm Chris Carlin.
30 minutes after the hour, John Harwood coming up on the Republican debate.
I see you dagger in the streets, and you can't stay on your feet.
You're listening to David Gregory.
on Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Do you suffer from erectile dysfunction? If so, you're not alone. For over 15 years, Boston Met...